So this is lesson 6.3 in trigonometric equations part 2, and we're just going to jump right ahead to example number 1 here. Now they have 2 sine of x over 2 equals 1. So what they're doing is they're saying the sine of some angle divided by 2. So let's say if this were a 30-degree angle, this x would have to be a 60. So it's the sine of 60 divided by 2, which is the sine of a 30-degree angle. Alright, so what I'm going to do, and you remember doing this last year, is I'm going to take my sine of x over 2, and I'm going to set that, in fact, let's just take the x over 2, and I'm going to set that equal to mu, which is a Greek letter. So I'm going to set that as that mu there, and I'm going to write it as 2 sine of mu equals 1. And divide by 2, and I get the sine of mu equals 1/2. Now I'm going to put this back in its place. So I'm trying to figure out what angle divided by 2, and I take the sine of it, is going to give me 1/2. So here's the secret. If I take the sine of negative 1 of 1/2, or 0.5, see what you get. You get 30 degrees, right? 30 degrees written in radian is pi over 6. So that's what you get when you take the sine, the arc sine of 1/2, which means this here has to be the sine, and x over 2 is going to have to be 30 degrees, right? We just said we get 30 degrees when we took the arc sine of 1/2. So this number right here is a 30 degrees. So x over 2 is 30 degrees. So what does that mean x has to be? X has to be 60 in order for x over 2 to be 30 degrees, right? So 60 degrees is what my x value is. So if I were to change 60 degrees to radians, it would be pi over 3. So this right here is what goes in there for x. Now, one of the things that you need to remember is we're talking about all of the numbers that will make that work. So we've got quadrant pi over 3. We've got quadrant 1 that works. We also have another quadrant that works where the opposite over hypotenuse is positive, and that will be in the second quadrant. All students' sine is also positive in the second quadrant. So we have pi over 6 there, and then we have our other angle, which is right there. All students' sine is also positive in the second quadrant. So this is 1 30-degree angle shy of being 180 degrees. So this is a 150-degree angle. And what is a 150-degree angle in radians? It's going to be 5 pi over 6. So 5 pi over 6 is going to be what, I'm trying to find some eraser here. Okay, let's get that out of there. 5 pi over 6 is going to be what my x over 2 is as well. So my first x over 2 was equal to pi over 6. My other x over 2 is going to be 5 pi over 6 because, again, I have a 30-degree angle there, pi over 6, and a 30-degree angle there, which is 5 pi over 6. So, knowing that my x over 2 is 5 pi over 6, I'm trying to solve for x. So I cross multiply. and I get 5 pi over 3 for my x value here. And we already did the pi over 2 equals, or x over 2 equals pi over 6. We had 6x equals 2 pi. Divide by 6, divide by 6, we get x equals pi over 3. So we got a 60-degree angle, and then we've got this, see if I can move this angle right here as well. So don't forget to get all the angles in there. So most of the time you're going to have 2, sometimes 4. Alright, we'll continue with example 2 in the next video.